Hello everyone, my name is X, and today I am going to give you an overview of the main 8 most important or most used item filter types on Minecraft Bedrock Edition. Now each of these have different properties, different advantages and different disadvantages, and I am going to go over all of them and explain to you why and how you should use one, and of course how to build them. Now, if you don't know what an item filter is, it's basically a small circuit that is usually one wide tileable, as these circuits can filter out certain types of items. So as you can see, if I throw in some iron blocks, they do not get picked up at all. I can just pick them up again. And if I throw in some of these smooth stone blocks, as you can see, they get filtered down and they end up in this chest right here. And to use these item filters, you usually build multiple of them next to each other, and they will then each sort out different types of items. In order to pass items above a line of item filters, you can either use water streams on top of the hoppers, or you can align the items for them to be between ice and hoppers so that they keep momentum and you don't have to leave gaps between the item filters. And you can also use rails and minecarts, I suppose, or you can just use hopper lines on top of the item filters. And you also could use dropper lines, but those are a little more complicated to set up, and they are loud as hell. So I'd say that's pretty straightforward, and we are going to get into the first design. Now the first design is very well known. It's the Impulse SV item filter design that works both on Java and Bedrock Edition. Now it's fairly simple. As you can see, the resin components are very cheap. It's just one repeater, one comparator, one torch, and 3 dust per slice. And you can also expand it downwards with more chests, and it doesn't take up a lot of space. And the way you set this up is basically you have it like this. And inside the hopper you have 4 filler items, preferably renamed so that it doesn't stack with anything, and then 41 of your filtered items. That depends, of course, if it's an item that stacks to 64 or 16, but yeah, those are basically what this item filter right here does. Now, on Bedrock Edition, there is a slight bug that if items have different types, then hoppers may not be able to properly pick them up, and that means if there is more delay, item filters may get more unreliable. Now, this item filter works fine for most applications, but if you put a heavy load on it, it might skip some items, which might not be an option for you, and that's why there are some other designs. But nonetheless, this is a pretty good item filter design. It's the most basic one, and it works at standard 9,000 items per hour hopper speed, and yeah. Now to build this one, you just start off with your chests, however many you want. You put hoppers on the back side of them, then you go one up, place one right here. You're going to want to place one block, one actual comparator, and go out like this, 3 redstone dust. On the downside, place a repeater facing this way. Salt block, torch, and that is your item filter circuit. Now you're going to want to get some of your filler items, place them in the row, in the last slots of the row, and in the first slot of the row place 41 of your filter items. Now I'm just going to place them right here, and as you can see, it will start trickling down all into this bottom chest, and that is pretty much the simple Impulse SV item filter design. Now this next one is very similar, but basically what we have changed here is that the repeater and the torch are inverted. Now this technically makes this item filter a little bit more reliable than this design right here, because repeater turning off somehow seems to be faster than repeater turning on. Now, if I am wrong, feel free to correct me, but I'm pretty sure that that's how it works, and the setup is the same, so you have 4 items in the back and 41 items right here. And just like with the other design, it does 9,000 items per hour. It's expandable downwards, and it's one wide tileable, and of course it has overflow protection. And this overflow protection means that if one gets full, then it won't affect the other slice, because if one gets full on some designs, it might break the other item filter next to it, and that does not happen on these 2 designs. Now for that design, just put it on your chests, whatever you want, the amount. Just go up and do the same as before. place one block right here and then the hopper. And what you're going to want to do is just place one comparator like this, one solid block, glass. Then what you can do is place 3 redstone dust, torch, and then just go up and down by one block and place a repeater like that. And then just do the same as before. Get yourself some filler items, preferably renamed, and your filter items, and there we go. It will all start going down into the bottom chest. Now this next one is a design of my own. It is using movable tile entities that we have in Bedrock Edition. So that is a Bedrock Edition exclusive feature. And it basically has the same features as all the ones from before. It has overflow protection, and it works at 9,000 items per hour and is expandable with the chests. However, I have no idea how reliable this is. I mean, no exact idea. I know that this is pretty reliable. I have tested it extensively in my, massive storage system, and it works very fine. And the advantage of this one over the other ones is that it doesn't really take up much space above and below, which is pretty good, but it does extend a little more out to the back side. And of course it's more expensive with the sticky piston per slice. And we can test this out just for a second. It is the exact same as the others. It will just start extending this piston, and then everything goes down in here. And it is pretty simple. So to build this one, like before, just place down your chests, go up one more. Then what you're going to want to do is place one block right here, go out a few blocks so that you can place your sticky piston right here. Place one comparator on top of the sticky piston, go out like this, and what you're going to want to do is place 3 redstone dust like this and a comparator like that. Now we can just turn this on very quickly, and as you can see, it will retract this hopper right here, and that will work fine for the most part. And just like with the others, place in your items and blah blah blah, you get the idea. Just place in your items like that and everything will go down there. So the next item filter design is one of the more reliable ones. It is the design that Silent Whisperer showed off, and this one uses the torch SI mechanic, which means torch soft inversion. And why we do this is basically so that we can remove the delay from this repeater right here, and that will make the item filter technically a little less unreliable. And the idea is that the piston, of course, redirects the redstone dust, and that way we can actually have the torch turn off without any delay from a repeater. And it works like the others, so it does 9,000 items per hour, and of course it can be expanded downwards, overflow protection, all that jazz, and it works just like the others. Now, the thing with this one is that if you have a single one, you're going to want to place this piston facing upwards and one obsidian right here. But if you have multiple, of course, these pistons would extend if we were not blocking them. So you're going to want to place multiple in a row and then a obsidian block at the very end. And that is how this item filter works. So for this one, just place down your chests, hoppers on the backside, block, break that. And what you're going to want to do, let me first get myself some blocks. You are going to want to place one block right here, so that you can place your comparator right here. Yes, that's correct. Glass, go down, break that. Place 3 redstone dust like that. 1 piston, and the torch right here. Now do the same again, top hopper, put in all of your items. And as you can see, that will turn off the torch and connect just fine. Now, as you can see, if I remove this obsidian, it will extend. And if you have multiple item filters, just place these actual pistons like that in a row, and that will work just fine. As you can see, if I put in some of the smooth stone, it will not extend. So this next one right here is very similar to the previous one. It's the one I showed off a while back already, but that video is very outdated. And this design is basically the same as the previous design, but it has no overflow protection, but in return it is quite a bit cheaper. Well, not quite a bit cheaper. The main advantage, of course, is that it is more compact. And just like the other item filters, it does 9,000 items per hour, and it is expandable downwards with the chests. But again, no overflow protection, so you might want to be aware of that. If you have more resources, definitely consider building one of the previous ones. So just have your chests right here, and once again place the hoppers on the back side. You may notice that most of these item filters are really similar, and that's because they all fulfill the same purpose. But anyways, just place a comparator on the back side of that top hopper, and you're going to want to go down like this. Place one block right here, and what you're going to want to do then is get yourself one glass, 2 redstone dust, and then an obsidian at the end of the item filter line, and then get yourself a torch, so that will lock the hoppers. And of course, as always, take your filler items and the filter items and place them in that orientation. And with this one, you will notice that there will be less items in there, so you will save on a few items. However, of course, this has no overflow protection, so that is one disadvantage. So this next design is still the same one using Torch SI, so that one, but with the overflow protection, of course. However, there is a change in the front. This is double speed. So this hopper will take more items per hour. It will take 18,000 items per hour. And this is basically just a Frankenstein creation of Ilmango's item filter design, the double speed one, and the Silent Whisper design one. So basically the one that Ilmango showed off is just this thing in front, but with the Impulse SV thing at the back, and I just made that so that it's more suitable for Bedrock Edition. Now, just like I said, this has overflow protection, this has double speed, so it's 18,000 items per hour, and however, it technically is expandable downwards, but it won't do 18,000 items per hour downwards, unless you set it up that way, which is kind of ugly. But you cannot set it up that way and still have it at the same speed. So this one is a little more complicated, so place down your chest, one block elevated. I'll talk later about the elevated thing. Place one hopper on the back side, one hopper on the front, one hopper facing into the front hopper, and one hopper facing down on that hopper. Now just place one block right here, got my one block, place one comparator, one redstone dust, then just go out like that, and then just take one piston, place it right there, and 3 redstone dust, one solid block, and get your torch of course, and put it there. Now you will notice that if you put in the filler items, they will get sucked down, so what you're going to want to do is take 5 stacks of your filtered items, so those are the items that are going to go into these chests, put them right here, and what you're going to want to do is place then 4 filler items, and then of course more of these. Now as you can see, it will pull out 2 at once, and that is double hopper speed. Now you can build these chests at ground level if you already have the floor as a block where you can place redstone dust on. But yeah, this is pretty much this entire design, and it is pretty cool because it's different. Now this design is a little different because what this does is separates non-stackable items from stackable items. So as you can see, if I just put in one normal item, it won't get sucked down. But if I do put down like a sword or something like that, something that cannot stack, it will get pulled down into this item filter right here. Now, let me get this straight. This does not sorter out non-stackables from non-stackables. All this does is separate stackable items from non-stackable items. So for this one, you're just going to want to place down your chests, and then of course place down one hopper like. So for this one, you're just going to want to place down your chests with the hoppers on the backside like before. Have one hopper face right here, and what you're going to want to do is take one piston, place one torch right here, one obsidian, and get yourself some solid blocks. One right here, one right here. Place 2 redstone dust, and then get yourself a comparator, just like that. And that is the entire thing. Now, this does not need anything in there because it will filter out the stackable items. So if I just put it in there, As you can see, it's gone. Now this last item filter right here is one that I have made myself, and it's the one that I use in my bee farm tutorial, well, more like my honey bottle farm tutorial. And what this does is basically is an item filter for a hopper minecart. So it basically is a movable item filter. And this is pretty good for a collection system where you only want one type of item. And now you have to note that this isn't really like a minecart unloader, so it will only unload 2 items every time it returns here, so don't use this for a bigger mob farm. However, I think this is pretty useful for things like bee farms, where you only want to pull out the honey bottles from the dispensers. And we can just demonstrate this. I'm just going to throw a stack of items right here. And as you can see, it will only unload 2 items at once when it gets back right here. And yeah, it is still pretty useful nonetheless. Because, well, I don't know, a movable item filter. What isn't cool about that? So for this one, just place down your chest right here, and then put one hopper on the backside just like this. What you're going to want to do then is place one slab right here. It's important that this is a slab, because if it isn't a slab, then the detector rate on top will power it and completely lock this hopper before it can pull out anything. And then just go out by one like that, break that block. And you're going to want to first have your rail line, so whatever rails that is, go up by 1 block, normal block right here, and just have 1 comparator, 2 blocks like that, torch, 2 redstone dust, and that is your item filter design. Now, of course, you're also going to want to have your hopper minecart, so just take your hopper minecart, and what you're going to want to do is get yourself 4 filler items. So 4 like these, and I don't know the exact amount, but I think it was 12 filter items, so let's just put that to the test. Yep, it was 12, so you need 12 filter items, and as you can see, that won't pull out anything until we drop some blocks right here, and then it will start unloading more of these blocks. So yeah, that was the final item filter design, and I think this is a pretty cool one. And a final bonus, some of you guys have been asking for a tutorial for my Octa filter item storage video. So yeah, I'm just gonna go over it a little, and you guys can take some screenshots, and then you can just rebuild it in your own world. Now, of course, in each of these items right here, behind the comparators, there's going to be 4 filler items and 41 filter items. So I'm just gonna back up a little like that, and you can take yourself a screenshot. Actually, I'm just gonna go on this side right here, and from that you can copy to the other side. So just take a screenshot and voila. So there we go. Those are the main 8 item filters that I consider to be important or useful in vanilla survival gameplay. Now, if you are going to build an item filter design yourself, I would recommend the one behind me. I think this one is a great balance between reliability, being small, compact, and cheap, and personally, in my experience, it's just as reliable as the piston one here from Silent Whisper, so I don't exactly consider this one to be a bad or unreliable design. It works great, and it is cheap, and it is pretty compact. Now, I would like to thank you very much for watching this video, because of course, as always, I put some work into it quite a bit. And of course, if you do enjoy my stuff, make sure to subscribe to this channel to stay notified of new uploads, because I keep tutorials like these coming out on a regular basis, and I think you will find them very interesting. Now, all the credits to all the things that were in this video were already said, so yeah. So thanks for watching, I hope you get a ton of use out of this. My name's Nex, and bye bye.